a 30-point loss by the defending champions. And it's a 2-1 game. And, Cleveland has an opportunity to win game 4 and to tie the series up 2-2. And then if you're Golden State, you get nervous.
Yeah, Daimeon, we're off and running. We got to take a short break, but a lot coming up on the All Things Sport podcast this week. I had a chance to sit down with Miss Erica Nelson, Director of Life Skills and Community Outreach at the University of South Carolina, formerly Sports Manager for NYC 2012. She talks about the time she spent with the greatest, Muhammad Ali, rest in peace, champ, during that campaign to bring the Olympics to New York in 2012. Had a chance to sit down with her for a little bit. We'll continue this conversation. It's so much that we could talk about with the finals, so we'll do that on the other side of the break. This is the All Things Sport podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks.
The All Things Sport podcast, your source for a plethora of sports content.
For real? How much those scores? Because my man just bought a Miata.
Every Friday at 10 a.m. on Spreaker Radio.
What up, this is Pierre Banks, and when I'm back in Boone watching the Mountaineers, my first stop is always Mountaineer Mania. The good folks at Mountaineer Mania have the widest selection of app gear, so you can cheer on the Mountaineers in style. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, decals, cornhole sets. I mean, if you need it, they've got it. So head on down to Mountaineer Mania at 497 West King Street in Boone, and tell them I sent you.
We're back with more of the All Things Sport podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Welcome back to the All Things Sport podcast. I'm Daimeon. He's Pierre. This is ATS. Now, Pierre, before the commercial break, we were talking about the NBA Finals, man. And as you all know by now, it's 2-1 Golden State. Cleveland has the opportunity. If you're listening right now, they're probably, halfway to tying the series up. If not, the series is tied. Now, you may be listening Friday morning when the All Things Sports podcast is released weekly. So it's a 2-1 series right now, with Cleveland having the opportunity to tie this series up when people were throwing dirt on their graves, when people were saying they were finished, they were done, they were going to get swept. And I didn't say that they were going to get swept. I text you, I said Cleveland needs to play with some heart. They need to play with some passion. They need to find some type of intestinal fortitude before they get swept.
You're right, but did you seriously think that LeBron James would let the Golden State Warriors come into his building and put on another performance that would have his team down 3-0 in these finals?
No, I hope that they would play better when they got to Cleveland. Because they didn't play with any sense of urgency in Golden State. And they didn't play with a chip on their shoulder. They didn't play like they lost to this same team last year in the finals. I mean, they were out there, they're sleepwalking. So I was hoping that when they came back to Cleveland, that they would find their heart, that they would replace the Kool-Aid that they had in their heart in Golden State and replace that with blood when they came back to Cleveland.
LeBron James, Game 1, solid game. Game 2, didn't do a whole lot. He was trying to be more of a facilitator, get other people involved. When he got to Cleveland, I could almost guarantee you that he was not going to play the same game. I can almost guarantee you that he was going to take things personally and not allow his team to go down 3-0. What did he do in game 3? 32, 11, and 6. Is LeBron James being what he needs to be, being that future Hall of Famer and putting his team on his back?
I never worry about LeBron, man. I'm pretty much sure that LeBron is going to be LeBron. It's the other players who haven't been under that microscope, who haven't faced scrutiny throughout their career. You never know how they're going to react, man. So I was worried about Kyrie. I was worried that, those first 2 games in the finals may have affected his play for the rest of the finals, because you never know. He didn't play This is his first time on the stage. I was definitely worried about J.R. Smith. I'm like, man, is this going to be a repeat of last year's final when J.R. Smith was nowhere to be found? But no, he came back in game 3 with a strong performance. And with Kevin Love being out with a concussion, I was wondering what head coach Tyronn Lue for the Cleveland Cavaliers was going to do with his roster, with his starting 5. Insert Richard Jefferson gave the Cavaliers more versatility on the defensive end, gave them a faster, quicker defender on the perimeter. And, Richard Jefferson is definitely a veteran. So you can pretty much count on what he's going to do. He played well, and Cleveland definitely showed their heart. Now they have to keep playing like that. And, okay, kudos to you, Cavaliers. You won one game. What are you going to do now? Are you gonna back that up with another solid performance in game 4? Or are you gonna be happy that you didn't just get swept in the NBA Finals?
And to go back to a point that you just made and who you were talking about being worried about, I do worry about LeBron sometimes. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, in my humble opinion, he is the baddest player in the world, but I do worry about him sometimes. I do worry about the times that he draws Sean Livingston, or the times he draws Steph Curry off a pick and roll, and he doesn't look to attack. He doesn't look to post. He doesn't look to drive past. He doesn't look to do anything. His first instinct is to pass the ball. And as LeBron James in these finals, I know your game is your game, but there has to be moments, just like they were in game 3, where you decide, I'm going to put the team on my back and I'm going to make a play. And what better time to do that than when you have Sean Livingston or Steph Curry on you? And that's where I worry about LeBron. That's where I question LeBron, if I am qualified to do so.
Now, I agree with you completely. LeBron, a lot of people have opinions about his game, about his legacy, about, where he stands in the pantheon of basketball players all time. And, I am Team LeBron all the way, man. Been a LeBron fan since he came into the league at the age of 18. And, I just have come to accept the fact that he's not going to be a volume scorer / shooter. He doesn't shoot a lot. He doesn't, he's not going to be a high 20s, low 30s shooter every game. He's going to do that sometimes, but for the most part, LeBron James he's a more athletic Magic Johnson, man. He looks to get his teammates involved. And, he's not a shoot first type of player. So I've come to accept that. But like you said, Pierre, it comes a time in series, it comes a time in games, moments where you have to take over. And if you're being guarded by Sean Livingston can't make a bologna sandwich for you, LeBron. So if Sean Livingston is guarding you, you need to abuse him. It comes a time where Steph Curry is guarding you. Steph Curry is 105 pounds. He fights in the bantamweight division. He can't guard you. You have to take advantage of those situations, of those opportunities if you're LeBron James. So I definitely agree with you, Pierre, in that regard.
Like that, man.
So I definitely agree with you. You have to, you being LeBron James, you got to be more aggressive. The Cavaliers are following your lead. And speaking of following leads, I am putting a APB. I need leads. I'm a detective now. I'm putting a APB out for Klay Thompson. I'm putting a APB out for the 2-time MVP. First time unanimous MVP. Unanimous, okay. Steph Curry. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where are these guys? I know the object of the sport is to win the game. And, heading into game 3, Golden State had a 2-0 lead. Now they're up 2-1. By the time most of you listen to this, King Jaffe is predicting that it will be a 2-2 series. Where has the MVP been? He's been super regular.
Seems like you got something on your chest, man. You want to let it off? I mean, a lot of animosity when you were talking about unanimous MVP.
No, I don't have it on. I don't have something on my chest. I'm just saying Steph Curry is a 2-time MVP in the regular season. get to the NBA Finals last year, Andre Iguodala wins the MVP of the Finals. Not the regular season MVP Steph Curry, but Andre Iguodala. And he got the MVP just because he guarded LeBron James pretty good. So I guess, only giving up 35 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, I guess that's pretty good. But I digress. Fast forward to this year's NBA Finals. Where are you, Steph Curry? Right now, if the series ended now, I don't know who the Finals MVP would be. But I know who it would not be. It wouldn't be Stephen Curry. I don't know where he is. Where are you, Klay Thompson?
You can't really take anything away from Steph Curry because he didn't win the Finals MVP last year. You can't take anything away from him because he hadn't put up performances as of now that would warrant a Finals MVP. I mean, you could argue last season that he could have won the Finals MVP. And I think the writers got caught up in the immediate impact, and that the immediate impact that Andre Iguodala had on the series when he was put into the starting lineup. But Steph Curry had very good numbers in the Finals last year. And this year, there's only been 3 games. And with the way it is, there have to be at least 2 more games. And in those 2 games, anybody can be the MVP in this year's series. So, I mean, Steph Curry, over 30 points a game, over 6.5 assists, just under 5.5 rebounds. I tend to agree that he was the regular season MVP, and that's just based off his regular season numbers.
Steph Curry, I love you, man. I love his game. Great shooter, best shooter of all time.
There y'all go with that hyperbole.
Besides me. Hold up. Listen. Steph Curry is the number 3 shooter of all time, behind me and behind Bob Lee Swagger. But I digress. Steph, you cannot average 30 points in the regular season and get to the NBA Finals and not score 20 points thus far. You may be hurt. You may have a knee injury. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I am not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. But I don't know if you're hurt or not. But you are not playing on a unanimous MVP level. That's all I'm saying. I'm just stating the obvious.
The MVP award is for the regular season, so he absolutely performed like he did back then.
I understand that completely. But you can't get to the finals and play like the inside of my daughter Loxley's diaper after a healthy feeding of breast milk. You can't play like that, Steph Curry. You know what that is? It's called baby doo-doo.
He definitely needs to play better in this series in order for, his team to have success. Or does he? He didn't have too much success in game 1, and it was a runaway win.
Yeah, but I think the Cavs are here. The Cavs have arrived. He needs to play better. If he continues to play the way that he's playing now, they're not going to win the series. Cleveland is 8-0 at home and 5-4 on the road. If they win game 4, now I know if and buts was candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day. But if Cleveland wins game 4 and the series is tied 2-2, they just got to win 1 game in Oakland. And if Steph Curry continues to play bad, that 1 game could be game 5, man.
You're absolutely correct, but you're also talking about a team who has lost a total of 4 games at home the entire season.
True.
Whether that be the regular season or the playoffs. So it's not an easy task to go into Oracle and beat Golden State, and just ask Cleveland that. They found that out the first 2 games.
Cleveland ties this series up 2-2, and they got confidence going back to Oakland. And if Steph Curry and Klay Thompson continue to struggle shooting the ball, Cleveland's going to win, man. Cleveland's going to win the series. Now, if Golden State wins game 4, and they take that 3-1 series lead heading back to Oakland, then all bets are off. They could close out that series at home.
Golden State could win the next 2 games.
Yeah, they could.
That's very much a possibility.
Klay Thompson needs to play better. Steph Curry needs to play better. The Golden State Warriors went into Cleveland relaxed. They relaxed. They were up 2-0. They had just come off a 33-point victory. They're relaxed. They're thinking, hey, man, we got this. These guys are, slapped in the face, back to reality. It's a series. What are you going to do, Golden State? Are you going to ball up and going to curl up in a ball, and just say, okay, we'll go back to Oakland and we'll take care of business in Oakland? Or are you going to, play like a champion in game 4? That remains to be seen. We know what Cleveland's going to do. They showed us what they're going to do in game 3. That's all I'm saying. Where you at, Steph? Where you at?
They hadn't need them to win the 2 games that they won, and let's not forget that they are up in the series 2-1.
It feels like they're losing.
Well, I wouldn't say that. They did lose the last game, but let's not forget that they absolutely did what they wanted to do.